no comments or objections, we will accept those minutes as written. And I did want to just point out that Mira just posted in the chat a link so that you could sign into this meeting as well. So she can have that in her meetings, in her minutes as secretary. Well, welcome. Welcome to our annual business meeting. I apologize for the pace of this delivery. It's going to be speedy, and I am going to be sort of moving people quickly, transitioning through agenda items. We have a lot to cover, and we're trying to be respectful of your time on this weekend. First, I just want to thank you as members for allowing this board to serve you. We are here to support you as members, and you are the reason we are here. So don't forget that. Please communicate with us. If there's something we can do better, communicate with us. We would love to hear from you. Last year, we had our first ever virtual fall conference, and really none of us would have predicted we would need to have another virtual conference in 2021. At the time, it was hard to make the decision to go virtual. And next year we'll definitely be together. But this week we've had the highest case rates since the onset of the pandemic. And as you all know, the highest case rates in the country and potentially the world. Alaska is truly a hot spot right now. And we all have COVID fatigue, to say the very least, on different levels. And those of you working in critical care environments have felt the stress more than anyone. And just know that we are inspired by your work and your dedication and your patience and your commitment. It's truly impressive what you're doing, and it really embodies sort of who we are as physical therapists. And thank you for that. Never in my life would I have guessed that a medical crisis would be so defined by political postures and division, but it's our reality, and it's what we ultimately need to overcome. In that vein, it's important that we talk about some of the dialogue and especially the ongoing Anchorage Assembly meetings and testimony related to mask mandates and other guidelines. It is something that we as an association, as a profession, cannot ignore. Having mask mandates would reduce transmission of this disease. That, along with vaccination, is our best defense against further spread and mutation of the virus. There's a forceful and frequently uncivil opposition to mandates of any kind. That group has the right to be heard, and they deserve to be heard, and I've made many efforts to listen. But the lack of civility and recent open anti-gay sentiment, anti-Semitic symbolism is disturbing, and sometimes more disturbing than the virus itself. The APTA amended their bylaws in Washington, D.C. at the House of Delegates a couple weeks ago, and they adopted language stating that we are an anti-racist organization. There was a lot of conversation about that in terms of the language, and I'm proud of the stance, and I'm proud that they've chosen these strong words. But what does this really mean in practice to declare ourselves anti-racist? Well, it means that we really won't stand silent when members of our society are discriminated against or treated disrespectfully. We're not being silent as an association. And that change in our bylaws sort of emboldened us to address these things. So Jewish leaders in Alaska and across the country have expressed that the co-opting of the yellow Star of David, a symbol that was used in the Holocaust, first to persecute, then to exterminate millions of Jews, it's been co-opted as a symbol for their own cause, is offensive and diminishes the meaning of the symbol. This has been expressed by this community, and that's enough to know it's offensive. Yesterday, I listened to a person who donned this symbol at the assembly meeting in an attempt to get their point of view and to really understand where they were coming from. They did not intend to offend. They made that clear. But I suppose that would have to be called ignorance if individuals are offended. It is offensive by definition if individuals are offended. So part of our mission in Alaska and nationally is to transform society in a positive way, and we're looking for ways to do that. I hope for civility. That's all we can do now, is just hope for civility and greater health of our community in Alaska and around the world. The APTA Alaska board, working with national support, has been committed to being the trusted source of current information. More than that, as is the legacy of our profession and what sort of sprung it into existence, is we've tried to act to better society during these challenging times. In the first few weeks of the shutdown, we started a network of PTs volunteering to help in the community. At our September board meeting, we voted and allocated funds to deliver food to ICUs, CCUs, and emergency departments at 7 different hospitals around the state. We called that Operation Appreciation. It's clear those workers need hugs right now, and this is what we can do, or one thing that we thought that we could do. They were very grateful to be supported by the PT community, and we made it clear that we were in their corner. If you have other action ideas, please bring them to us. Nothing is more important to us right now than finding ways to help. Yesterday at our board meeting, we revisited our strategic plan that we adopted last year, and we are working toward many of our goals. We've had 2 initiatives targeting a more inclusive environment for Alaska PTAs. Our Centennial Scholar and Member Chair, Rachel German, submitted a capstone project that involved APTA Alaska supporting an alumni night for UAA PTA program. This hasn't been rolled out until the pandemic's a little more reasonable. We lowered conference attendance for fees for PTAs. And last night we started a discussion brought forward by one of our members, Pat McAdoo, not in detail yet, but of a strategy to recruit PTAs to fill our vacant PTA caucus position. High on our goals are just better PR for the profession and the community and better membership support and communication. So if there's ways that we can do that for you, please let us know. The past 18 months has been challenging in terms of keeping members of the association engaged. And we're not elected to only keep the association on track. We also here to look forward and be agents of change to improve the profession, to move the profession forward. As PTs and PTAs, we are uniquely trained to take care of society's musculoskeletal problems. Currently, we're only seeing a small percentage of patients who we can help. More and more, we have proven our ability to reduce costs, procedures, opioid use, and imaging with our superb knowledge and skill set. Payers are taking notice, and so is the public. We've advocated vehemently for our worth on the national and local levels, and this is a focus of ours, helping more who need our help. That requires commitment to the profession. If we're going to talk the talk, we need to be ready to show what we can do. So this is ongoing competency development, public relations campaigns, constant legislative efforts and resources. The APTA is in your corner to help the profession and your patients succeed. It's why we exist. Finally, I would like to thank all the member volunteers who help our association, the profession, and society. This includes committee members, our fantastic executive director, Susie Callan, and especially my fellow board members. We are servant volunteers, and this past year and a half has been extremely unusual and challenging. The board has remained positive, compassionate, committed, and effective. As my career continues, I will not forget the adversity and successes we were able to achieve as a group. So I just want to thank the board for their work and their friendship. It has been inspiring.